welcome. It's really nice to have you back. And tonight, I thought that I would go onto websites. So I have a meeting with a client this week who has an idea for a business, and I feel like most of you are in the same boat. You have this kind of an idea of what you want. You've decided that you want to take this a step further, and now you're looking at a website. So I want to create a website. Most of you will most probably be creating your own websites, or you will be using someone to design it for you. But in tonight's content, I will be sharing with you the 8 tips for content that you should have ready for your website even before you contact anyone. So all of these content is really super easy and super important, because this is stuff that you have to have ready. So a lot of the times when you get someone to design a website for you, you pay per hour and per project and also per markups. So if you do it once, they will send it back to you. They will say, please make changes, or say what changes need to be made. And they will tell you that you can get 1, 2, or 3 changes, sessions that can be made. But when you have all of this content ready, it'll make the process super easy, because you will have everything ready and you will know exactly what to tell them what you want. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So content that I should have ready before starting to create my website. I know a lot of you probably go on to Wix or Squarespace, and then or even WordPress, and then you just start designing and throwing some logos together. But you know what? At some point, you will get stuck because you don't have these things ready. So, step number 1 is write down a framework. So, think of this like you're designing a house. You won't just jump in and start building with bricks the foundation of the house. No, you will start with a proper paper and you will say, well, I want 2 bedrooms, I want a kitchen, I want a bathroom, and this is how the layout is going to look. So if you're, for instance, a business coach, you will say, okay, I want a home page, the first page that most people will come to. I will have an about us page so that people know what my business is about. I want a page where they can easily see what solutions I provide them. So for instance, I do leadership management, I do career growth, and I do team cohesiveness, for instance. So you have 3 different solutions for them. And then you have a contact us page. I'm hoping you will have a blog or a podcast or some form of content that you will be regularly updating as well. But this is 4 things that you need to have in your framework. That's pretty basic. So it's really important to have a bit of a framework, because this is probably the first question a designer is going to ask you. Hi, how are you? I want a website designed. Oh, great. How many pages? And you're like, I don't know how many pages. Just pretty basic. So some of them will then have a package to say between 3 and 5 pages cost you X, between 5 and 10 will cost you Y, between 10 and more will cost you X, Y, and Z, for example. But the nice thing about knowing this is I can now tell you, while writing that framework, you already know that you need a homepage, an about us page, services, which you will probably break down in 3. So there plus 3, and then we will have a contact us page. Okay, so you might think you want a pretty basic one, which it is, but it's still 7 pages. What you can do is the 3 pages, which we said would be your career solutions, for instance, you can make that 1 page and then you drop it, meaning you then have less pages to create, which means that it's a bit more of an affordable option. So step number 1 is write your framework. So start with drawing your house. What do you want? Where do you want people to go in? Where's your front door? Where's your back door? Like, think about how you want them to experience it. My tip, I already started with number 1, but I want to go back just 2 seconds. My biggest thing would be, go back to one of my previous blogs where I spoke about nailing your niche. Knowing your niche and knowing the people who you want to work with is super important. Why? Because let's say your niche, for instance, are females and they want to get a business coach. Then you need to know, okay, females, what type of questions do they normally ask when they arrive at a website? What are the things that they would want to know from me before they actually join me or before they actually sign up? So that will actually influence your framework quite a bit. So if you haven't listened to that podcast or that video, go back to that one and listen to that one first. That is the most important thing that you can do. Okay, where were we? Let's continue. So, step number 1 is write your framework. So, what do you want? And this makes it really easy for the designers to actually help you design something. Step number 2, this is items. Have a look at items that you can have ready beforehand. So something maybe like an email address. Do you already have that? If you don't, go have, there's loads of them. So just do an easy Google search. But a very popular one, for instance, is GoDaddy. So go on to GoDaddy, search for your email address or your domain name. So your domain name would, for instance, be www.lindyvanheerden.com. So that's my domain name. My email address is info@lindyvanheerden.com. If you go for a package with Wix or something like that, you can do that part of Wix, but that is a relatively small amount to pay. So I would suggest to even do that through GoDaddy and secure that completely. If you have a few names which you really like, try and secure all of them and just redirect them. So in other words, it's almost like roads to your house. So almost buy all the roads to your house so that whenever they're on one of the roads, they still come to your house. So have that ready. And then something that's really important that you can have ready as well is descriptions. So things like homepage, okay? What is your business about? What do you want people to know about your business? The About Us page. Write down your About Us page. I have a checklist which I will be posting as well about things that you need to have on your About Us page. And while doing all of these pages, you definitely need to think about your audience. Who are the people that you want to connect with? Because those people are the ones that's going to read it. So you want them to have an immediate connection with you and with your brand. So descriptions, the info, and then images. Think about your homepage. What type of vibe do you want? Do you just want normal stock images? Or if you have a bit of time, contact a photographer and have photos taken. This brings me to step 3, but this is a really important thing. So you need to have ready descriptions, your content, and your images. Step number 3 is images and videos. So I would suggest that you have professional photos taken, even if it's 2 pictures. I literally mean 2 pictures. You can build a whole website around 2 pictures and then fill in the rest with stock images. But 2 professional images of you. I'm saying professional. It doesn't have to be with a stylist, or it still needs to be you and be authentic, but be the best version of yourself. So a photographer will really help to bring that out. So you can use stock images, which is the second option. But please do not steal images. Do not go onto Google and just search for images and just download any images. Those images, a lot of the time, have licensing restrictions to them. So you cannot just use any images. So there are thousands of websites out there, but pixabay.com or unsplash.com are 2 examples which you can use, which are completely free of charge. They do have paid options as well, where they make their money, but they have a completely free option where you can download free stock images. So make use of free stock images, not unlicensed ones, because Unsplash and Pixabay, you can use that for commercial use, for your own use. Although it's always nice to give recognition, but you don't have to. But first option is to do professional images. If you want to start getting your website up and running, use stock images and maybe just use normal 1 or 2 images that you or a friend of yours have taken of yours, but do make it a priority to have professional images taken. Step number 4, or thing number 4, item number 4, I would say is logos. Have a logo ready, or you can either design this yourself or you can get a professional designer. So you can design it yourself on canva.com, which is a really nice platform. It's so user-friendly. They also have a free version, which is really easy and simple to use, but they also have a paid version where you get more features. But really, don't worry about the paid version. In the beginning, you really don't need it. But yeah, canva.com, if you feel like you have a bit of creative energy, which you can use, you can do that. Otherwise, get a designer. So there's a lot of really, really good designers out there at a reasonable price. If you don't know anyone, go to some of the Facebook groups, ask for referrals, which is always a really good way to go. If you need someone, you can let me know. I've got a few kind of on call. And then other than that, you can use a website called Fiverr, which are people all around the world, and then you can look for designers with good ratings who's in your budget. So that is the second option, is to have it designed. So item number 5 then would be headings and subheadings. So once you have in item number 2 written some of your descriptions, get some of your headings right. So Google something like attractive website headline, or copy that sells. But copy is really, really important. So try and keep it short and sweet. Try and remove any words that is too much and that doesn't have a meaning or really helps to convey your message. So I would suggest do a bit of a Google search, look for some of the headings that you want to have in. Having easy, short headings beforehand makes it really easy for a designer, because if you have longer headings, all the design features start to change. If you then shorten it, then you need to move images around and move everything around to kind of fit that. So try and make it as easy to read and to kind of design as possible. I know this might sound like you're doing a lot of the work for your designer, but if you have these things ready, you will pay less because you're using less hours, but also you will get better quality work because you're not frustrating the person who's actually helping you. So clear and easy headings will make for easy frameworks. Item number 6, I would say, is write your copy. This is really tough, and I know not everyone thinks of themselves as a copywriter, so I would suggest open a Word document, start adding headings on each page. So for instance, when you do your framework, you say page 1, you will say homepage, and then you go to a second Word document, a second page on the Word document, and say about us, and say, so that way you kind of have it organized, and then you start filling in the gaps. And starting with a copy is never perfect, but I would suggest writing one draft, which might be completely rubbish. I promise you, I've done a copywriting course, and I always do first draft is absolutely rubbish, but you just do one just to get all of your ideas out on paper, and then I start moving them around. This sentence fits better at the top, this fits better there, and then I proofread it to remove all the extra words that is not necessary. So it really does take time to perfect this. But what you can do is write it and then maybe just pay someone to zoosh it up, a copywriter. But at least they will have a framework to know more or less what you want to say. So write down all of the copy on one page, each on a page. About your products or your services or about you, and also testimonials. And if you maybe want prices on there, and add any PDF documents that you want to add as well. So have those PDF documents ready if you want to add them to your website, so that you know what needs to be added. So this makes it also easier for designer to know the flow that it needs to go. So you need to go from her, so really going through the user's experience. So they will land on your homepage, then they will most likely scroll a little bit, and then they will click on learn more, and they will go to your about us page. And that way it's kind of a flow to where they need to go next. The seventh tip that I would kind of say is get testimonials. Testimonials are extremely important because they are word of mouth. They're the new age word of mouth where you can use the word of mouth to your advantage. So if you don't have any testimonials yet, ask some of your previous clients. If you don't have any previous clients, go get some people after you've listened to my Find Your Niche podcast. Go find your niche, find 5 people, offer your services for free in return for an honest review. You have to say honest, because if they don't like your services, they don't have to give you this amazing review. But this will give you experience with working with people, and it will also give you experience with asking them for giving you a testimonial in return. People value your opinion, and they value the fact that you want to know what they think about the service that you provided. And people in general like to help as well. So don't disregard that. So please do make it a priority to ask for testimonials. That's really, really, really important because people really enjoy knowing what other people have said about your brand. And then the very last one, well, there's loads more, but I'm going to stop at number 8, is links of websites that you like and highlighting specific aspects. So this one is not what you want on your website, but this is to give the designers a bit more of an idea of what you like and what you dislike. So maybe the last page of your Word document, link 5 websites that you like and say, okay, I like the simplicity, I like the colors, I like the fonts, I like this. So just give a little bit of a feedback. So you cannot expect a designer who hardly knows you to know exactly what you like. Please also bear in mind that the website will most probably look nothing like the website you started out with. So the first website, the first draft, a lot of the times it looks completely different by the end with your final product. So don't get discouraged when you do get a first draft from your designer and it isn't what you like. Make sure that you highlight websites, tell them what you like, what you don't like, and you go through that with them. And say, for instance, okay, I want 5 pages. This is the framework I want. For my homepage, I want something that looks similar to this, and add a link. For the About Us page, I really like this look and feel. Can we add something like this? And you add a link. If you add your contact us, you say, I really like the way people have to fill in their details to contact me. Can we add something like that? And that way, you kind of, it's almost like a puzzle piece where you fit this whole thing together. And I'm going to go back to the idea of it being your house, because technically it is. It's your business. It's your house. It's where you house your business. And people will be coming into your house, and they will coming and they will be looking around, and you need to make sure that they actually know where to go next, and that they get the look and feel that you and your brand actually want to convey. So the same as before you redo your kitchen, you would go onto Pinterest, you would go onto Houzz, you would go onto websites and say, I like this kitchen, I like this cupboard, I like this color, I like this countertops. You do the same with your website. You say, I like this font, I like this look and feel, I like this colors, I like the image at the top, I like the image at the bottom, I like having a small, brief introduction of me. So do make sure to go through those things, and make sure to go through it with your designer as well. Also, I mentioned about getting a designer on Fiverr or something like that. You can also get designers for your website, or you can design it yourself. I'm a big fan of outsourcing it, only because sometimes you are too close to home and you do tend to fiddle with things that don't matter. So in my experience, websites do tend to take a lot longer when you do it yourself. But if you have time and you don't have the budget, there's some brilliant websites that you can design yourself. You can even do WordPress yourself, but there's so many platforms like Wix and Squarespace and Spotify that you can actually do almost a plug and play where you just drag and drop and add your content. And some of those websites are really, really simple. So if you want to do it yourself, those are things that you can have a look at, but you can also look at hiring a designer on something like Fiverr, or again, you can contact me, but no need for that. But anyway, so all of these 8 tips that I've given you will really make the process a lot easier and a lot smoother for both of you. Remember, it's your job to make it easier for the designer, but it's also their job to give you quality. And if you give them all of the information beforehand, they will be able to give you a quality product back because they will have all of the information on the table. It's almost like asking a builder to start building without having the plans, asking a builder to build your house, but they don't know should they be using these tiles or these bricks or these paint or these, so they don't know anything. So you need to be able to provide them with a blueprint and say, this is what I want, this is what I like, this is what I dislike. And from there, you move forward. So be sure to spend time to get this right. Your website should be for your customers. So do remember that. That's a really important tip. Yes, you should like it, and it should be in line with what you like. But more importantly, it should be in line with what your customers like. It should be in line with what they are looking for and what they are looking for in terms of getting a product or service that fulfills their need. So make sure that it is in line with that, and make sure that you convey that to the designer as well, and make sure that you spend time with your designer discussing who is your audience. I've said this now a few times, but please go back to my previous blog, How to Nail Your Niche, so that you are very certain on exactly who these people are that you want to contact. So yeah, and that is just in a nutshell. I will hopefully be talking a lot more about this and telling you a lot more detail about websites. But if you have any other questions about designing your website, please feel free to send me an email. The links are all below in the description boxes. And yeah, I'm really happy to either send me a message on social media or on email. But I'm really happy to share my 8 tips for getting content ready before you have start designing your website. And it's really exciting, and your website should and deserve all of your attention, because this really is one of your biggest marketing personnel actually that you can employ. So your website will be the one that does all of your marketing when you aren't able to actually talk to clients. So super excited about this. Please let me know if you've implemented these steps. Send me your feedback. Tell me if this has been helpful. Tell me if it wasn't helpful. But I would really like to get your feedback.